Well, you probably wouldn't think something as simple as a mustache could mess up somebody's entire life or even get somebody arrested.
It's a crazy story, but that is exactly what happened to the man that you are about to meet. Fox 5's John Dutzman has his bizarre story from Orange County, New York.
At the hamlet of Howell's Volunteer Fire Station, 80 miles from Manhattan, something very strange was going on in the parking lot one night last month.
Is this kind of an upstate kind of thing that I don't know about?
Must be.
Charged with grand larceny, handcuffed in the back of a state police SUV, similar to our news car, Gary Seitz was about to be arraigned by a local judge.
And the judge pulls up in his car?
That is correct. Yep, the two driver's side windows go down and they start having a little conversation.
Now, I've heard of like ordering French fries like this, but being arraigned like this, I've never heard of this.
I was clueless to all of it, and it was crazy.
Crazier when you hear how an innocent trip to a sporting goods store turned into a fiasco for Gary, including an embarrassing arrest in front of his co-workers.
I didn't know what to think.
Gary was handcuffed to a bench inside the troopers' barracks, his pickup truck confiscated, his house searched, and Gary claims the police threatened to kill his dogs.
They said they were going to kick my door down. I said, go ahead and do what you got to do. I said, just watch out for my dogs. And they say, well, don't worry, if they're in the way, we'll just shoot them. And then I could see them both walking out the door laughing. I mean, and here I'm sitting here, and it's a joke? I mean, I don't get it.
His wife, Joan, didn't get it either, especially when she found out her husband could be facing serious prison time.
I thought I was physically going to throw up. I was shocked. I saw everything flash in front of us.
And through it all, as far as we can tell, Gary was just guilty of having a bushy mustache. This man has a bushy mustache, too. He was caught on surveillance tape after witnesses saw him steal more than $8,000 worth of watches from a store called Gander Mountain in Middletown. And unfortunately for Gary...
I came here on a Friday, made a purchase.
Gary came to the very same store 2 days before the heist to buy boots. And apparently, after looking through surveillance tape, tracing Gary through his credit card, talking to witnesses, and focusing on that bushy mustache, cops felt they had enough to go after Gary.
In fact, investigators were following leads as they went along, interviewing witnesses, developed probable cause that this individual was, in fact, the perpetrator.
Detectives first paid Gary a visit at his house in Otisville.
They have a guy in a mustache who stole something from the store. You were in that store. You admitted you were in the store. Exactly. And it's starting to get a little scary.
Exactly. Yeah, that I wasn't sure what I should say, but I figured that, honesty would be the way to go. And I was very honest with them. I wasn't disrespectful.
The next day, cops charged into Gary's office to arrest him in front of his co-workers. Gary is a manager for a heating and air conditioning company. Tracy Weber is the bookkeeper.
There are troopers, there are detectives. They then proceeded to take all of our names, our numbers, asked if he had been peddling any jewelry, any new watches, any suspicious activity. She wanted to know his hours.
What was going on in your mind at this point? Because you don't know
I was totally freaked out. I didn't know what to think.
Then things start to get real strange. Even though it doesn't come close to the description of the getaway car, cops confiscate Gary's dark green company pickup. Apparently, witnesses saw the bad guy leaving the scene here in a red Toyota pickup with a white top. Well, Gary's truck has the name of the company on the side and the phone number. Most thieves don't advertise how to get a hold of them after they commit a crime. Keep in mind, this caper is apparently a big deal in the Middletown area upstate.
State police say they have the watch thief in custody.
Gary, whose official first name is Gerhard, had his name plastered all over the local papers, on the internet, and on TV.
49-year-old Gerhard Seitz of Otisville has been charged with grand larceny for the theft of about $8,000 worth of Luminex watches.
Back to that arraignment in the firehouse parking lot.
This is the scary part of the story.
Scary because Gary's attorney was rushing to this courthour's in Mount Hope, where he was told Gary would be arraigned. Gary's wife was already there, but Gary was not.
The detective lied to me. Where is everybody?
Gary was actually being arraigned in that firehouse parking lot 4 miles away.
Is this kind of an upstate kind of thing that I don't know about?
Must be.
And it is an upstate thing. The judge told us he does arraignments at the firehouse because it's convenient. He lives close by. But he says he would have waited had he known Gary had an attorney on the way.
By sending his attorney and his wife to a different place, you have to presume that the police were doing this to deprive him of his right to counsel to argue bail. They wanted him to go to jail that night.
Gary spent that night in jail and spent a couple of weeks facing charges that could send him to prison until cops arrested this man with a bushy mustache, Walad Zamid Frank. Cops say he was actually driving the getaway car described by witnesses and found the stolen watches in his home. Up close, he doesn't look much like Gary at all, except for the bushy mustache.
This to me is more of a deliberate attack against me and my rights.
I can't believe this is America. I can't believe this happened. I felt like I was a third world citizen.
The scary part about this really is, John, that anybody, any one of us could have this happen to us, and the loss of control that a person feels when the police are just running without anything, without any evidence, without following the rules that we have, makes it very frightening.
Gary is now suing the state for $5 million.
His attorney is contending it was just sloppy.
Certainly the attorney's going to have things to say about the initial arrest and how the case transpired. And in fact, investigators were following leads as they went along, interviewing witnesses, developed probable cause that this individual was in fact the perpetrator.
This all boils down to your husband's mustache.
Correct, which I requested he shave, but out of his stubbornness and self-righteousness believes no way.
Because of the pending lawsuit, police can't tell us too much about what exactly happened here. But as you can see from the story, the dogs are okay. The police did not shoot Gary's dogs. I'm John Dutzman, Fox 5 News.